And I think a lot of people right now, if they looked at their calendar and they said, my values are my health or my family or my relationships or this important work that I'm doing, but they looked at their calendar, they would see that they might have gotten off course. And that's not a bad thing. It's just an invitation to course correct.
Tap into success by learning from the best in 7 minutes or less. This is the 7 Minutes to Success series on the LifeKraft podcast. Today we feature author, podcaster, and digital marketing expert Jenna Kutcher.
I feel like if you pull up your calendar and you hate what you see coming up, that's a good sign that you're out of alignment. Have you ever looked at your calendar and you're like, who booked this? And then you're like, oh no, that was me. Like I said yes to all of these things. And I have been in seasons like that and really recognize like I am not looking forward to life. Like I am dreading these agreements, or I'm overextended, or I'm stretched too thin and I feel it. And a lot of times it's us saying yes and not having boundaries. And so for me, I'm actually quite introverted. A lot of our friends surprisingly are. We're the people that can stand on a stage and talk to thousands of people. But if we get into a room with strangers, we're like the ones like awkwardly standing in the corner. And so really paying attention to like, what sort of boundaries do I need to have in place that protect my energy, but allow me to do work that's meaningful. And so when the pandemic hit and life shifted, I was like, I have been training my entire life for this. I started my business in a town of 1,200. I live in small town Minnesota. I've been trying to convince people that so much can be done digitally over the years. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I can like open my laptop, do my work, close it, and get back to life. And so I think it takes a really great deal of self-awareness, because my husband, Drew, you know him, he's an extrovert. He could talk to anyone. It is his like greatest dream to like go to the gym and talk to Bob while they're walking around the path, like, and figure out his life story. And to me, that kills me. Like small talk kills me. And so it's like, what is this self-awareness on what drains you and what drives you? And how do you try to pursue this blend of it? Because I think we're over this idea of balance. Like if you look at the definition of balance, it's maintaining a perfect balance of something. And like balance is a moment. It's not like something that you can master. And so for me, it's like, what does this blend look like? If I say my values are being a mom, but I'm committing to a work trip that takes me away for 2 weeks, am I in alignment with what I say is important to me? And I think a lot of people right now, if they looked at their calendar and they said, my values are my health or my family or my relationships or this important work that I'm doing, but they looked at their calendar, they would see that they might have gotten off course. And that's not a bad thing. It's just an invitation to course correct.
So in that example, which I think was such a great one, are you saying that we have to be more selective over our priorities in a particular season?
Absolutely. If you are able to, and honestly, Jay, and I think it's important to note, like it's a privilege to be able to say yes and no to opportunities, right? Some people don't have that invitation to just say, I'm not going to agree to that if that's something that's going to pay the bills. But at the same point in time, one thing that I've been doing a lot lately is if I get an invitation when I'm in person with someone, because I just like love people's energy and I'm so prone to say yes. I'm like the kind Midwest girl. I've been saying, let me check my calendar and get back to you on that. Because a lot of times when I overcommit on things, energetically in the moment, it feels right. But then when I look at it a week from now, a month from now, I'm like, shoot, like I shouldn't have committed to this. So there are boundaries that I think can be really important that can buy yourself the time to really assess, is this the right opportunity? Is it shiny? Is it going to guide me forward? Is it going to serve others? Is this a clear yes or no? And I always think it's either like a hell yes or a heck no. And you've got to pick more of the hell yeses in your life.
How have you learned to say no recently to people who you deeply love and people care for you, and then you still want to say no for your values? Like, have you had to do that recently? Like, how have you?
Oh, I'm so good at it.
How have you? Yeah, okay. Walk us through that a little bit, because I think I had to do it the other day. I had someone reach out and they were like, Jay, I need you to do this thing. And I send them my response, but I want to hear yours and then I'll add to it. But tell me how you deal with that. I'm intrigued.
So boundaries are something that I think people are afraid of, because when you think about boundaries, you think about like keeping something or someone out, right? Like you almost picture up like a fence around, and that feels scary. But I have found that boundaries keep us in our life, like the life that we're meant to be living. And when we have good boundaries, it really invites us to like be awake to the life that we say we want. So for example, when I was pregnant with my first daughter, Coco, I blacked out the entire year following her birth. I had not a single commitment on my calendar for an entire year. Now, was that scary? Absolutely. Did I fear that I would lose momentum? Yes. Did I wonder, would I become irrelevant in that year? Of course. But I said that being a mother was the greatest gift, the biggest miracle that I could ever invite into my life. And you better believe I was going to live that way. And I just didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if I would thrive, if I would be flailing. Like I didn't know. And I wanted to give myself space and time to adjust to that new life and that new version of who I was. And so I put up bumpers. Like I think about bowling, and I think about boundaries as like bumpers that keep us in the lane, that keep us aligned and from falling in the gutter. And so I told my team, I said, if any inquiries come in, I don't care who it is, I want for you to just send this polite decline to them. I don't want to hear about it because I'm going to want to say yes. I don't want to see it because it's going to make me antsy that I should do it. And I just want you to send this out. And if it's the right thing, I truly believe it will come back in the right timing. I believe that that will happen. And so I also have a note on my phone that I use often. And it's when I get an invitation that's wonderful or from somebody I love. And all it says is, oh my goodness, like, thank you so much for considering me for this opportunity. I'm so flattered and I'm so excited for you. Right now, I have to politely decline. And I want for you to know that this, in me declining, it is not a reflection of you or your opportunity or the work that you're doing. It is solely a reflection of the values that I'm living. And me saying yes to you right now means that I'm going to have to say no to what is most important to me. And right now, that is my family. I truly hope you understand. I can't wait to work with you in the future. I'm cheering you on as you go, wishing you the best. And I also include a caveat that says, I hope that in me doing this, it is an invitation for you to lean in and live out the values in your life as well.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode. Remember, this is only a segment of the whole presentation. Please follow the link in the description below to listen to it in full. If you loved this episode, please leave a positive review for us and let us know on social media at the LifeKraft what inspired you. We will connect again in the next episode, and until then, keep creating a life you are excited to wake up to.